Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about the truth about ghosting and what to do about it. If you're in a situation where you've had somebody ghost you, you know how painful that is. It feels like a rejection, and rejection causes us physical pain because of the way our brain is wired. And so when we feel this separation and abandonment from other people, it literally makes us feel like we're going to die without them. And this is especially so if you're really attached to somebody and you've had a relationship or you're feeling like it's going to go someplace meaningful. And a lot of times people aren't as authentic as they present themselves. And so navigating all these different types of social medias is very different now. And people are going to have to learn a new set of skills and abilities and ways to handle things because people can get overwhelmed easily. Even if they came on strong in the beginning, it could be shocking. But ghosting happens a lot. And chances are you've been ghosted by at least one person in your life. And so when it happens to you, it really makes you feel like it's reflective of you and your own value and your own self-worth. So we're going to talk about this today because when you're going through a situation where somebody's kind of disappeared on you, it makes you feel bad about yourself. And it makes you feel like you're not important or valid. And that's not a good feeling, especially if you're excited about where it seemed like it was going with somebody that was taking you out or talking to you on a regular basis. It's like, what happened? What is going on with this person? Is it them? Is it me? Did I do something that turned them off? Because, that's certainly a possibility. Our behaviors and our attitudes and, we may present ourselves differently online than how we are. And so, or in person, just with our personality and how we get along with somebody, it can be very different when you meet somebody online. So let's just briefly cover what is ghosting, right? Because what is ghosting? Sometimes people don't really understand what it is. Ghosting is when you're talking with somebody, dating somebody, seeing somebody, and then suddenly they cease contact with you. They stop reaching out. They stop replying. They may never message you back. They just kind of disappear like a ghost. And many people that are going through the dating scene are having to deal with this. I'm constantly talking with people who were talking with somebody who it looked like things were going good or they were optimistic about it, and then all of a sudden they just disappear. It's really hurtful when you're in this situation and confusing because the person just stops replying to you and they don't really tell you what's going on, what happened, what made them do that. And it leaves you guessing. It makes you just wonder what happened, what went wrong. But I do want to reiterate that ghosting has nothing to do with your value as a person. Even if there were things about you they may not have liked or appreciated, or they felt like it wasn't a good fit, it doesn't mean that it has to do with your value. Now, sometimes we don't know how to handle attraction, and we do unattractive things. And that is something that you want to think about, reflect on, and grow with, because there's always room for improvement in those areas. But don't take it personal like it means you have no value. It just might mean that you have to work on some social skills. So let's talk about some of the reasons. So obviously, one of the big reasons someone might ghost you is because they are conflict avoidant. Now, they may have this fear of being open and honest with things, sharing what was going on with them, not wanting to continue the relationship or express to you why. Maybe they were afraid that it was going to lead to a conflict and they thought it was just easier to ghost you and disappear. And obviously people with an avoidant attachment style are going to be more likely to do this because this is how they generally handle most problems in life, by shutting down. They've been doing it since their early childhood. It's what kept them going in childhood. It's what kept them in a difficult home or situation. They had to shut down to kind of survive it. So it may feel very awkward for them to do something they've never done before, which is to express themselves clearly. And quite honestly, if they grow up in a home where they did that, they may have been yelled at or screamed at or, traumatized. And in a lot of cases, that's true. Now, I'm not justifying their behavior or making excuses for it. I'm simply trying to let you know what makes people do these things, right? We are adults and you want to act like an adult, but you have to understand what may have led to them doing this behavior. And so you don't take things as personally when you're able to do that. They may have had serious consequences where if they had opened up to voice concerns that they were abused. Quite frankly, a lot of times people that are more avoidant were abused emotionally or physically, and so they don't want to express themselves as the fear that comes along with it. Another big issue that may be going on with them is the fear of consequences of rejecting somebody, right? So maybe you were talking to a woman and she ghosts you, and what may be going on with her is that she is afraid that you may lose emotional self-control, get angry, lash out, want to hurt her because she expressed herself or told you that she wasn't interested. And if you're honest with yourself, we see it all the time. Ladies, please share some experiences on what happens when you reject a man and tell him you're not interested. Men quickly lose their temper and get angry and say, oh, you're not that good looking anyway. Instant insults. Their ego is hurt. They're fragile. They're hurt. They lash out. Many men begin to get violent and scare people. So yeah, many women learn that they can't be honest with their reasons because the guy could become aggressive, stalk her, want to retaliate violently. These things happen all the time. So there could be a safety component as to why they're just ghosting you instead of telling you what's wrong. I mean, think about it. If you've got attachment issues and they can sense something's going on with your self-esteem, or you have low self-esteem, self-worth, and they say they're not interested, you may take that so personal that all the hurt and the anger that's built up from being rejected in your childhood or those traumas that you have, you take it out on them. That's what happens a lot of times. So if somebody ever rejects you, you don't want to blow up at them. Guys, this is big for you guys. I say this all the time. If you are interested in a woman, you ask her out, you ask her to get together, and she says no, don't get angry and lash out. Just say, okay, no worries. If you change your mind, give me a call. And a lot of times, if you just show her that you can handle rejection and you're not going to lose your temper or blow up at her, she could change her mind and get to know you a little bit better. But it's very easy for women to weed out guys that can't control their emotions. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. If you could easily weed out people that are going to be dangerous, wouldn't you do it? Seems like a safe thing to do for me. So I don't blame women for testing men to see how they're going to handle emotions when they don't get their way or what they want. Now, you may take this personal and think, well, I don't get like that. I wouldn't lose my temper like that. Well, how do they know that? They may not know you that well and just know you a little bit, and they're being cautious. So that's some of the reasons that people do something like that. Another reason someone might be ghosting you is that they're feeling overwhelmed by you. Now, what you have to really look at is how accurate is that? Is it true? Were you overwhelming them? Were you double texting them? Were you not showing patience? Were you coming on too strong? Because yeah, that's going to scare somebody. But it might be them. Like I mentioned earlier, if someone has an avoidant attachment style and they're more avoidant, they're going to tend to shut down and feel overwhelmed more easily. But they may be feeling bombarded by these messages to you. They may be feeling harassed by you, and it may make them feel uncomfortable or annoyed or just kill the attraction. So you got to be very careful about these things. Always pay attention to how you're communicating to other people. And you could do that by reviewing your text messages. Scroll back through some of your text messages to other people. Are you double texting? Are you getting angry and lashing out because people aren't responding to you as quickly as you want? That would be a big reason people are going to ghost. If they see that you're losing your emotional self-control, they probably feel like it's better just to disappear than to engage with you and have a big fight or drama play out. All right, another major reason that people ghost is that sometimes there is something major happening in their life and they can't handle something else. It could be a death, a divorce, an injury, an emergency, something serious going on with a parent, things like that. Now, again, I'm not making excuses for this behavior. They could easily make some kind of communication with you, but a lot of times they don't. They feel like they are overwhelmed, they're over capacity, and they just can't handle it. Now, they shouldn't be really talking to other people and leading other people on if this is the case. But like I said, this could be an emergency kind of situation. But it's not fair, honestly. It doesn't take much to communicate something to another person. Another big reason that someone might ghost you is that they got involved with somebody else. Many times people are dating multiple people, especially in the beginning. If you're on dating apps, they're talking to other people. They're seeing how it's going with other people. And maybe there's an ex in the picture that comes back. That happens all the time. And so they want to start dating somebody else, and they don't want to hurt you. They don't want to disappoint you. They don't want to let you down. And they think that telling you is going to do that. Well, I mean, them disappearing is also going to do that, but not everybody acts like an adult in this world, okay? And that's one of the things that we're always trying to help people do is really take responsibility for themselves and act like an adult. That is a big thing that Margaret really tried to help everyone understand. Try not to take it personally. It can be hard when you have a date with someone and they seemed interested in you and they all of a sudden vanish. Maybe you even had a close relationship with this person and they ghosted you. It's painful. It feels like a rejection. It is a rejection in a way. And that lack of clarity can make it hard for you to move on, especially when you don't know what's going on. So what do? I know you want to contact them. I know you want to double text them. I know you want to kind of get an answer, but don't do that. It's not going to work. It's going to likely make the situation even worse. They're probably going to shut down even more. They're going to probably have a lesser view of you. And it's not fair, but that's oftentimes what's going on with somebody. Like, oh, they can't take a hint. They don't understand. I have to spell it out. So what do? You give them space. Leave them alone. Don't look for any reason to reach out. Don't contact them. Don't like any posts on social media. Don't lash out at them. Don't do anything. No forward momentum. You're in no reach out, or as many people call it, no contact, no reaching out. The burden is on them to repair this 100%. If somebody ghosts you, it is 100% on them to show you that they want to fix this. You don't reach out in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, ever. Let them reach out to you, because if they care enough about the situation and you, they're going to do it. You need to see that they have the maturity to reach out and to communicate with you. If somebody really cares, they can do that. You don't want anyone to think that they can completely ghost you and ignore you and they can come back into your life like nothing ever happened, because then it looks like you tolerate bad behavior. Respecting yourself is one of the best things you can ever do. I know it doesn't feel good in that moment, but don't force yourself into anyone's life, because you won't really know your value with them if you do that, right? Think about it. If you have to push yourself into somebody's life to stay there, then it doesn't allow them the opportunity to reciprocate and show you that they care. You're always going to wonder, in the back of your mind, you're always going to think, well, if I hadn't reached out, would they have reached out? And that's not a good feeling, because then you don't really feel like they care about you. So don't do anything to push an agenda. It's not going to feel good and it's not going to go good. Not in most cases. Believe it. If somebody is going to be in your life and they're meant to be in your life, they will come back and they will make an effort to repair things, even avoidance. Now, they may not be able to communicate and express themselves like other people, but they can show up and show you with their behavior. And if they don't, then is it really what you want? Is it really what you're looking for? Is that really going to feel like love or somebody who cares about you? Probably not. So just think about all these things and what to do if somebody ghosts you. And remember, It's not a reflection of you. Yes, you might have to change some of your behaviors. Yes, you may have done some insecure things, but that stuff can be changed and worked on. That's not who you are in your core. It's simply some of the behaviors that you're doing. And it's always possible to change behaviors and change to more attractive behaviors. You can learn a lot of that stuff in my creative healing course and my workbooks. It's all meant to help you learn to be an amazing partner and more confident than you've ever been so you can attract people naturally. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. You can also get my workbooks and my creative healing course only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.